Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Rich Salad Show. We are back for the third week. We're seeing how this goes. We're having a great time. David, how you feeling? What's up?
I'm feeling okay. I just had a sneeze
Okay.
and it went away. It was
Oh,
awful. It was horrible.
interesting. You have one of those inside sneezers.
Yeah, it was very disappointing to not sneeze,
Mm.
especially while you were going through the intro. I wanted to sneeze like as loud as possible. But it went away.
Oh,
It went away.
damn.
But I'm
Maybe
super
next time.
excited. I'm excited for what we got today. It's gonna be a good show.
Absolutely, brother. All right. So today we are going to be talking about Predator Badlands. I saw it last night. I will get into that. Next, we're going into the Michael teaser trailer, the brand new biopic, possibly one of the best biopics or one of the biggest biopics to come to theaters. Next, we will be going into a new film studio that is spearheaded by Chloe Zhao, Oscar winning director. After that, we're going into Chris Stuckmann talking about his story a little bit and how he made his film and what it means for indie filmmakers. After that, we're going into some biblical themes in film and TV, which David will talk about. Finally, we are ending off with The Black Phone, a film that most of you probably forgot about. That's pretty fantastic. All right, David, we are starting off with Predator Badlands. So I'll start off with the Rotten Tomatoes reviews. So currently, right now, it's at an 85% with the critics and 96% with the audience. Now, that's pretty dang fantastic, especially for the audience rating. Right now, that is the highest Predator film rated in terms of audience. And I mean, with about like six, I'm pretty sure it was like six Predator films. That's the highest one. That is really impressive. It seems like Dan Trachtenberg, the director, the guy who's been behind Prey, who's been behind Predator Killer of Killers, he's just killing it right now. He's bringing his own vision to the franchise, and it's clearly working because people are responding and they're loving it. And I can happily say that Predator Badlands delivers. It totally delivers. It's just an action-packed thrill ride, fun time. I will admit it is a really good popcorn flick. I wouldn't expect too much out of this, but with that being said, there are some really neat surprises throughout. Going into this film, I was really excited. I was hoping it would live up to the hype because following Killer of Killers, following Prey, I can't believe Prey was like 2 or 3 years ago. It was crazy how quick time flies. And when I saw Prey, I just was just in love with it. It was so much fun. And to see Trachtenberg come back to the big screen with with Predator Badlands, he brought it. And it was awesome to see. So this film is about Deck. He's a brand new predator that we've come to know. And essentially, he's just been kind of dropped on this planet where he's going to find the biggest beast to bring back home and try and feel connected to his clan again because he is kind of shunned in a way. I won't go too deep into it for spoiler reasons, but I will say there's some really gut wrenching family dynamics. And to think of a family dynamic within the predator race, the Yautja, it's kind of crazy to think of them having a family and them being familial. So this film dives into that way more than any other Predator film has, which is awesome. So this film definitely delivers on that. So I will say I had a blast from start to finish. It's just a great time. Like I said, it is a thrill ride in a sense. As he's dropped on this planet, you meet a lot of crazy creatures, some kind of unimaginable creatures, some really neat creature designs in the landscape, whether it's within trees, whether it's in animals that represent animals on Earth that they use some crazy cool CG to make it a little different and more bombastic and wild. It was just a great time. Now I did see this film with one of my buddies, Maddie. She's been seeing films with me for a long time and she hasn't seen any of the Predator films and she really loved this. She actually said this is probably her favorite film of the year. That was really surprising for me to hear because it was interesting going into it. I didn't think she would enjoy it that much, but she really loved it, and that was she's almost kinda like the representation of the every person watching a film, like, she doesn't dive too deep into indie horror, like, small, low budget artesian type films. Like, she doesn't really fancy that. She's kind of like the every person when it comes to film, and I kind of get a good gauge on her reaction. And like with the audience rating at 96%, that tells you all you need to know. Like 96% audience, like that's verified audience ratings that have seen this film and they clearly love it. And again, that's just awesome to see for this franchise because this franchise just keeps getting bigger, keeps getting deeper in lore. This film definitely dives more deep into the lore of the Predator. And in this shot right here, where he's holding up Elle Fanning's character, which was a Weyland-Yutani synthetic, which ties to Alien. So we're delving deep into another franchise within this franchise, which is awesome because I know a lot of people want to see Alien vs. Predator, and it's totally coming at some point. There's no way it's not coming, especially with this film when they dive into Weyland-Yutani a lot more. And if you're a fan of the Alien franchise, I'm sure you're just as excited as I am. So in terms of like what would I consider a standout moment of this film, I'd say, and I think David, you can relate to this in terms of like I kind of relate it to anime in a sense. There's that hype moment. Like if you think of All Might in My Hero, like David, you remember that? I mean that the scene with All for One versus One for All, like it's sheer hype. And there was a huge moment at the very end of this film that's just hype. And that special feeling of like your body kind of gets up and you're just like you're in it, like your eyes, you're locked on everything that's happening. And it's specifically between two characters they battle. And this film delivers on the hype. It earned it at the end. It builds characters in an interesting way where you get to the end, it's like, oh, this is what this was all for, and it's so worth it. The action in this film is really great. It's kind of what you'd expect if you've seen the trailers. You kind of expect a certain kind of template. There were some scenes that were dark. Like I will say some of my negatives I have for this film is the lighting, especially with the opening scene. There's a few fight sequences that are in darker lit areas, and it's kind of hard to see. And I saw this in Dolby format, and the Dolby format is known for having deeper blacks and having the ability to see better in low light. And even in that, I didn't get that much of a great picture, unfortunately. But still, the action was still a lot of fun. Another thing I loved about this film was the music, especially with the opening. I'm gonna bring up a photo of the opening sequence. I mean, from this, I mean, that's beautifully shot right there. It's insane. But within this opening sequence, it almost feels like the music from Dune. It really reminds me of Dune music with Hans Zimmer's score, and it's clearly inspired. They mixed it with some alienistic, almost singing, almost kind of like throat singing. Like in Dune, there is some throat singing, which is really neat. So this ties to that in a way, especially stylistically from this shot. It's very sandy and washed out, less saturated. So clearly this film ties some inspiration to that, which is awesome to see. Dune is one of my favorite films. But overall, this film was fantastic. I highly recommend. Uh, David, have you seen the trailer for this? Are you excited to see it at some point?
Yeah, I have seen the trailer. I am pretty excited to see it. The thing about Predator movies is they're kind of like campfire stories for adrenaline junkies. It's like if you were sitting around a campfire and you were telling a story about how you were going to hunt something, and then all of a sudden you're the one being hunted. It's like a very good campfire story, and I think that's why they do really they have there's a lot of movies of them, despite whether or not some of them are better than others or not good at all. They're well in that aspect because I think people can relate to it. It's a very simple kind of like storyline, and they just kind of ramped up the sci-fi. It seems like from the trailer. So, and
Absolutely.
based on reviews, I think I'm gonna really like this movie.
Absolutely. Yeah, once you see it, definitely. Well, we'll probably chat about it for a second on here because it was absolutely fantastic. So that is Predator Badlands. Y'all should go see it. It is fantastic. With that down, we're moving on to our next topic, which is this: the Michael teaser trailer dropped this week, and in my opinion, this is one of the biggest films to come out next year. It's funny because was supposed to come out in November. David, I'm not sure if you know this, but there was some controversy that kind of happened behind the scenes. I don't know if that's, I wouldn't say controversy, but there was an incident that happened behind the scenes where as they were filming, and once they were done, they had this film all in the can. The estate of Michael Jackson realized what they shot and forgot to tell them that they couldn't have this specific scenario happen in the film. So they had to scrap pretty much half of what they shot.
What?
Yeah,
Half?
pretty much. Yeah,
Wait, half of the incident or half of the movie?
half of the movie,
What?
maybe even more than half. Yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah, so the incident was, so it's of course with Michael Jackson's allegations with I can't remember specifically what person, but it was with some kid. They used that was a primary story plot in the film, and once the estate realized that happened, they told him to, like, "Oh yeah, sorry, we forgot to tell you that you couldn't do that." So luckily that wasn't on the filmmakers. That would really be unfortunate if that was on them, but this is the estate's problem, and that has all been dealt with. I mean, they're probably still dealing with it, but especially on the estate side. But now this film was pushed to April 24th, which is my birthday, so it's coming out on my birthday. That's pretty sweet. The teaser trailer came out this week, and it looks pretty epic. I think in terms of musical biopics, they're so formulaic in a sense. They all have the same set of narrative and structure, so it's not necessarily surprising in how you see them, especially if they're based on a certain story. People who know the performer or know the musician, they kind of know their story, and depending on how it's told, they probably won't be surprised in certain ways. But I still think films at the end of the day are their experiential vessels of some sort. So regardless if you know the story of someone, seeing the experience of their story is what brings you to films. I think with this Michael film, I totally believe this film is going to be the highest grossing biopic for sure, because Michael Jackson's prowess is just insane. It's absolutely insane. And from the trailer itself, it just feels so grand. I love the layering of his songs. So many hits that are just layered on top in the trailer that just kind of blend into each other. It's beautiful sound design with some certain peaks of Jafar Jackson, which was Michael Jackson's nephew who's playing him. He looks fantastic. I wouldn't say he's like a one for one, looks just like him, but I'd say well, within any film, within any biopic, you don't need the person, you don't need the lead actor to look exactly like them. You just need them to give a great performance and be the best for that role, which I believe he probably is the best for this role because he looks like he's going to give his all for this. He's totally going to bring it. I think with all of his different looks in this trailer, you could see just the magic that is MJ. I feel is in this, especially in this screenshot here. It's just a beautiful shot. I think this film's going to be shot beautifully. It's going to have a lot of fantastic music. Regardless if the movie is good, you're going to have a good time with the music. Now, if this film can be good on top of itself within the music, it's going to be something special to see. David, have you seen the trailer? What are your thoughts?
I did see the trailer. I think I saw it on TV for a commercial. Man, it looks really good. Like you described it very perfectly when you described it as grand. MJ was grand. Huge stage, the king of pop, right? And what better way to portray that and to have the viewer be immersed in the from the first person perspective story of Michael Jackson than in a theater, a movie experience. So this is going to be epic. A lot of people are looking forward to it. I've already seen so many memes about it.
Really?
Yes, the meme goes something like this, where the caption is saying something like, "Me trying not to just bust out in the theater during Thriller," and then it's just of some guy just like dancing. It could be like the umpire that's on the baseball field, doing the dancing thing or whatever.
Right.
It's going to be big.
Absolutely. Now, have you seen any biopics like that have stuck with you?
I have seen some biopics. The last biopic I saw, I want to say it was Air. Do you remember Air?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that one, it's funny. I should have continued watching it. I was watching it at night and I was falling asleep. And it wasn't at fault of the movie. I was just tired and I just never got back to it. That's my fault. But I should definitely get back to it because I've heard it's fantastic.
Air is good. You have, the combo Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. The chemistry on screen delivers always entertaining performances. Jason Bateman as himself as he is in any role, and
That does feel true.
it does. It's like
You know,
he's the same guy.
he's always Bateman.
But it kind of shows the story of how Nike signed Michael Jordan, and kind of like
Speaking of MJ.
I know a different MJ.
Yeah.
That's the last biopic I saw, and the next biopic I'm going to see is the new MJ, not the new MJ, but the different MJ that was also wildly successful. And I just it was really good. It was a little long, but
Okay.
I feel like that might be a tendency of biopics is to kind of be long. And it was they shot it very interestingly because you never saw the actor who played Michael Jordan. You never saw his face. You only saw, and I think that really kind of immersed you in the perspective of the people who worked at Nike. Matt Damon's character and Jason Bateman's character. You were immersed in their perspective, and you didn't. I mean, you obviously were thinking about, Michael Jordan, who was this person, like who was the actor playing it, but you didn't know because you never saw his face,
Right.
which was an interesting choice, kind of added to like the level. It elevated Michael Jordan because you didn't see his face at all. So it's almost like if that is done purposefully, it's almost it's done in horror movies a lot, I feel like, but it's almost like elevating the character to a higher level, which is I think what they were trying to do, and what the people at Nike believed Michael Jordan to be is the next big thing, right? I mean Nike. I mean at the time it was crazy, like to think Converse were basketball shoes. Like the number one basketball shoes was Converse is like insane to me,
crazy thing,
right? Like that's insanity. But that's that's who they were up against. Nike just had no skin in the game whatsoever, and they took a huge risk, and it worked.
Yeah,
it was a great movie.
Absolutely. It's funny, yeah, because Affleck plays Phil Knight, which now does Travis Knight ever show up in there? Does this kid ever show up in there?
I don't think so.
Okay, which Travis Knight is directing Masters of the Universe, which comes out next year. So that's awesome. That little connection there.
What is that?
Masters of the Universe?
Yeah.
He-Man? Yeah, so he's directing that next. Yeah.
Okay.
Which Travis Knight, yeah, he made Bumblebee, which is amazing. Probably one of the best Transformers films. He did Kubo and the Two Strings, which I heard was great. It was almost kind of like a claymation looked like type of film, animated. Definitely need to check that one out. Another director to keep an eye out. There's always a lot of cool directors out there that are making cool stuff. That is the Michael teaser trailer. I am super ecstatic to see this. I still wouldn't consider myself a huge MJ fan, but I can't lie. After seeing the trailer once, like all of his songs are just running in my head throughout the entire day. Like it's just crazy how pungent his tracks were. They would just stick with you no matter what. They were catchy, they were fun. And this film could be catchy, fun, and a great time. I really hope it will be. Next, we are talking about Miss Chloe Zhao, and she is developing along with another gentleman by the name of Nicholas Gonda. They are creating their own live adaptation anime studio for films. I think this is huge for the industry, especially for anime. I know, David, you're talking about, I want to say last week or the week before, that anime has hit the mainstream and it seems like it's going to stay in the mainstream for the foreseeable future because a lot of people love it, especially when I was at the theaters when Demon Slayer dropped and it was absolutely packed. It seems like this is a move that is so smart right now that is going to pay huge dividends in years to come. This studio, Kodansha, is home to a lot of beloved manga. So, I know, David, you love Attack on Titan. That is going to be a huge one if they adapt that, which they probably will. And also Akira, which I think I saw Akira, I want to say, felt like a decade ago or more. And I didn't really understand it. I definitely need to give that a rewatch because I feel like there's a lot of great themes in there. And in terms of visuals, too, even for its time, it looks like it brought a lot of wild and bombastic visuals that look kind of disturbing in ways, but also really interesting. So I definitely want to revisit that at some point. But in terms of something like this for the industry, I think it's huge. And for the film industry and movie theaters, they're just not healthy right now. It has been healthy for a while. And a move like this could be absolutely huge. And in terms of making films, let's say for Attack on Titan, if there's a film, in terms of theater attendance, I can't imagine how it would be. I feel like it would be like Endgame level. I don't know. At least I hope. But David, since you've heard this news, any thoughts? I know you are the anime guy. What you got?
I want to be clear. I am the anime guy of us. There are people who are way more anime than me. Um, I just really like Attack on Titan. And this is really cool. So are they going to be making live action anime adaptations or are they going to
Live
be making
action. This is
huh?
all
Okay.
live action adaptation.
Okay. Super cool idea. It could work. Now, anime live action adaptations have not done well. They haven't. I think they can though. I think there's potential. And it's about really sticking to what makes the anime good. For Attack on Titan, in order because that has been adapted into live action. There were two live action Japanese movies. They came out like before season 2 of Attack on Titan came out. I'm pretty sure both of them, and there was like so much was lost in terms of story. I mean, it was its own thing. I think Attack on Titan has phenomenal music, phenomenal visuals, but the plot is so beyond like comprehension of amazingness that I would say that has to be respected in order for an Attack on Titan live action adaptation to work. I've thought about this a lot.
Yeah, I know because you want to make a live
I
action.
want to be the guy that makes it.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm just gonna say that right now. I want to be the guy that makes it. That's probably not going to happen, and
you
that's
never know.
okay. You never know. You never know. In order to respect the plot, I would need at least 8 or 9 movies that are at least 2 hours long
That's a lot of
to
movies.
fill that time, which is like a lot, right? Like that's like
It's a lot. Yeah.
crazy. But it has been done before in a sense. Harry Potter was 8 movies. I mean, but they actually consolidated a lot more information down into 8 movies,
Right.
as opposed to I would essentially be taking the runtime of the anime and just like making it into movies. Can be done. I think you could add different things to it. This is really exciting. You talked about Akira.
Mhm.
The motorcycle shot. The motorcycle shot.
Yeah.
That's where that's from. It's from Akira. This one. Like the motorcycle is drifting away from the camera on its side. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. From what I
It's in
remember, I
like
know what
every
you're
movie that has like a motorcycle now.
right.
It's from Akira. Akira is groundbreaking. I think it has been adapted into live action, has it not?
I mean, possibly, but in terms of like reaching a bigger audience, I know it hasn't. It definitely wasn't anything huge in terms of
Hmm.
reaching a lot of people.
I love this because there's a lot like Demon Slayer has proven it. Anime is mainstream. With anime being mainstream, the next logical thing to do would be to, if you want to reach a bigger audience with that, is to make a live action adaptation. I think live action it's different mediums Anime is very, very emotive, almost over emotive in a sense. We talked we talked about My Hero Academia with the All Might scene.
Hmm.
It's very emotive scene, and it can be difficult to pull off in live action because it almost doesn't feel real. It feels almost over the top and too and like cheesy or corny in like real with real people. So that's kind of the challenge. And the fact that they're making this to me says that they're going to face that challenge. They know the challenges that have happened in the past, and they're trying to replicate what has worked. I think like a Demon Slayer movie actually would, like live action, would work really well because the story is very formulaic. So I'm really excited for this.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We shall see. Yeah, I will say this is coming from an Oscar-winning director, with Chloe Zhao. She she definitely specializes in the more well in terms of what she's been most comfortable with, the smaller intimate stories. Like recently, she just her new film Hamnet is coming out at the end of this month, which is a more intimate story about William Shakespeare and his wife. And I feel like filmmakers who dive into stories like that, who know the intimacy, those creators really just know how certain characters should act and how certain characters carry a film. And I don't know, I feel like with intimacy and knowing how characters should be with one another, I guess for me that it just makes sense that'll translate well to knowing other characters. Like she could take some characters from Attack on Titan or Akira and just dissect each character on their own and really try and understand. I guess what I'm trying to say is like intimacy within a few actors in a scene or within a story that's kind of small. Once you kind of can achieve great success with that, which she has done in the past with Nomadland, with which won her Best Picture. I think she could take what she's learned from that and take it into films like these, even though it's a completely different medium that she's taking it from. She can apply what she did on those films to films like Akira or Attack on Titan and just really focus on characters, just bring them to life in an interesting way and in a way that hopefully anime fans and the normal populous fans can come together and just hopefully like. I think I think David, you brought up an excellent point with a lot of anime live action adaptations. They haven't been great. They haven't been received well. I know a lot of people didn't like Death Note. There were a few others I can't recall, but for the most part, it's
Ghost
not
in the
a
Shell.
Ghost in the Shell. I want to say I thought people were kind of like so on that, but especially for people who didn't know the anime or manga, they probably liked it more than people who knew of the anime or manga. Definitely hasn't been a great reputation for the live action anime adaptations, but I mean, if we kind of look for what the video game adaptations have done, for a while they've been terrible. And recently we've had the success of Last of Us, the the success of Fallout, and soon we're getting God of War with the showrunner Ronald D. Moore, who is super accomplished in his own right. He's created some of the best television, and for a filmmaker like that to get behind, in my opinion, one of the best video game franchises, God of War, it's going to be insane. And that show is going to have a lot of weight. So we're seeing a big shift for the video game adaptations, and they're coming, they're swinging hard, and they're hitting home runs after home run. And hopefully that happens with this new studio by Chloe Zhao. If this is a success, we could have some awesome theater experiences, lots of hype going on in theater viewings, almost endgame level. That'd be sweet to witness. So here's hoping.
Yeah. My final thoughts. I will say that if, with what you described about how she's able to kind of dissect characters on an intimate level within smaller scenes,
Mhm.
that gets me really excited because a story like Attack on Titan has very deep and well thought out character arcs that are very long, that span the entire series. When you said that, it made me think, wow, if she was in charge of something like this, she could do it justice. I will say that if we do get a respected to the anime Attack on Titan series of movies adaptations, we will have, it will be like, in my opinion, it will be like an Endgame
Right.
theater type experience. You have to think about it from this perspective. You have probably 100 million people in the world who have seen Attack on Titan. 100 million. Attack on Titan was review bombed on IMDb. It is still the highest rated show that has more than, like, I think 15 or 16 episodes, despite it being review bombed. The numbers are insane. I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when you're describing Endgame level, and it kind of reminded me, like, well, like what got me into film was the MCU and the magic that that brought to the screen. I will never forget the first time seeing an Iron Man 2. Tony suiting up with the suitcase armor, the Mark V, and I think what can happen again with anime, with something like Attack on Titan, like let's say if they plan on making 5 films, let's say the first film is that Iron Man moment for some other kid growing up, if he's like 12 or 13, and it's that magical moment that can bring him to love film, to love the visuals, to love everything about it. Who's to say that can't do the same? Thinking about that got me really excited because that could happen to me again. Like an Endgame scenario or a MCU scenario can happen again with this studio making anime films, these live action adaptations. It sounds like it could be a very special thing. I feel like we're hyping it up, or at least I'm hyping it up a little too much. But yeah, just hope for the best. That's all we can. All right. With that down, we are moving on to this, which is Chris Stuckmann. So this story, I wanted to touch on this because one of my idols, in a sense, it's weird to call him an idol, but I love this man, John Campea. He does exactly what we're doing right here. He talks about films. He's been in the film industry talking about it for decades upon decades, and he is one of the best at doing it. He's an inspiration for me in terms of talking about movies. I've learned so much from his show. Him and Robert Meyer Burnett, everyone on that show is fantastic. Everyone who works on that show is fantastic. And what John said about Chris Stuckmann recently really stuck with me. And it was in regards to his new film that he made called Shelby Oaks, which right now it is holding a 55% critic rating and a 54% audience rating. Now, hearing that rating at first, you think, oh, it's bad. But no, that's not really what it means. I mean, the ratings on Rotten Tomatoes, 54 or 55% critics, that's literally almost half. So that's the definition of polarizing. Like you either like it or you don't. So that's not necessarily a grade. It's not like an F. Like the film didn't get an F. No, it just means half of the critics liked it and half of the critics didn't. Same thing for the audience. You know, there's a lot of films out there that I've seen that I've loved that have had ratings like that. And it just goes to show not everyone is going to like what you like, and you won't like what people like. The saying is like, don't yuck on someone else's yum because someone else probably likes it. So with this story, even though Shelby Oaks has been getting mixed reviews, it came with a lot of controversy from people who probably some are fans of Stuckmann and some who aren't fans of him because he's been on YouTube for a long time making film reviews. He's an inspiration to a lot of people out there just doing what he loves, just talking about movies and giving his thoughts in his own great demeanor. He's a great analytical reviewer and how he talks, his delivery, it's very professional. And he took a risk while making this film. He wanted to make a film and he did that. He put his job on the line to make something big because he could have easily, like, I mean, who knows, the ratings could have been way lower than this, and like a lot of more things could have been at risk for him. So he took the chance. He just wanted to make a film and he did that. And that is an incredible thing to see. I mainly wanted to talk about this story was because with taking that risk and getting all this flack from people in the comments, there's just been a lot of controversy with him within that. Maybe not controversy, but just negative talk. And it's just unfortunate to see because at the end of the day, he just tried. He just tried to make the best film he can. I still need to see it. I still need to see this film. I would love to get my thoughts on it and really dive into it, but unfortunately couldn't see it yet. But just knowing that he tried, he took a chance to do this, is just a great thing to see, because I know there's a lot of people out there. I feel like, including me as well, where I would love to make a film. I would love to be in the film industry. But I mean, honestly, if I'm being honest with myself, I don't really take the steps to do that right now. I'm just kind of hoping something might just come. And thinking that way is kind of naive. And I don't like that. I wish I could kind of be like him and really try and do something within that. But he's the living example of doing that. He's able to just try and make a film. He, wrote and directed this all himself. Had a probably a fantastic crew with him. I'm sure he had a blast. Like, making a film is one of the toughest things anyone can ever do. All the moving pieces, all the things you have to be mindful of while you're doing it. Like, I made my student film in college, and it was a short film. It was a small thing, but even that small thing was so incredibly difficult to do because I had to think of everything involved. So the fact that he tried, the fact that he really just took the risk to make this is truly inspiring. I know, there's a story that John Campea referenced, and David, you might be surprised that I kind of bring this up, but there's a story in the Bible, and he talks about, I want to say, David, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was something with a boat, and Jesus was walking on water, and he was telling people in the boat to come, hey, come to me. I know the waves are rocky, but just try. Just come to me. Just try. And everyone in the boat was super timid, but there was one guy who was not. And was it Peter, David? Am I right? I'll start with a P.
I think so.
Okay. It might be Peter. It might be someone else with a P.
Yes.
Okay, sweet.
Peter.
So Peter was the only one that got out and walked. And he walked for a little bit, but then he fell. And the moral of the story is not that he failed, but that he tried. And I think in terms of being a creator, I know even right now, like, for my other passion, I love drumming. I've been practicing that right now, and I'm just trying. And even with this podcast, like, me and David, we're trying. Just to be able to try, that is such a huge thing in life, to get what you want, because nothing is ever guaranteed. But just so long as you try, that's all you can do, and hopefully something will happen. David, after I made this long explanation about this story, you got any thoughts on this?
Yes. And
What's up?
I think, well, this is really inspiring, and I hope it inspires a lot of young filmmakers or anyone really that wants to make a film. Have you listened to Joe Rogan talk to Robert Rodriguez? He's a director.
No, but I remember you talking to me about that.
Yes, I need you to listen to that.
Okay.
It is one of the most inspiring, specifically also in the terms of filmmaking, because Robert Rodriguez was a director. He is a director. He wrote a book called Rebel Without a Crew, talking about how he made his first film for a very, very low budget, like didn't really even know what to do, but it actually did very well. Something that he talks about is he was at some point after he was going through, I guess, a rough period or whatever. He was looking at jobs. He was reading a book called Jobs for Dummies, the For Dummies book series. He got to director, like movie director. It said, this is the best job in the world because you get to make movies with your friends, have a blast, make something cool, and then just watch millions roll in. That was how it was described. And as Robert was reading that, he was like, oh, yeah, I do have the best job in the world. I get to make movies. And it just starts with action. Everyone has a phone now. Everyone has one of these things. The cameras aren't like horrible. The audio also isn't like horrible. You can literally make a movie. You're going to learn more from just doing than overthinking it. And I'm telling this so I can remind myself this, because I also am stuck, can't get stuck in the trap of overthinking everything. I've gone through it a little bit with school and with work. You just overthinking, but just go out and do. Just go out and make something, because you're going to learn so much from it. And I'm telling you to go watch that because it inspired me, and I'm not on like that path right now, but I think it will inspire you. So
Okay.
I
Absolutely.
think you should listen to that podcast.
Heck yeah. I'll definitely check it out. Was that recent? Like how recent was that?
A few months ago, April 24th,
Mm,
2025.
my birthday.
Joe, oh yeah, that is your birthday. That's crazy.
That's crazy, yeah.
Joe Rogan Experience number 2310.
Okay. Yeah, that is the little Stuckman segment. Yeah, once I saw or once I heard John talk about that, I was like, that is really inspiring because all you got to do is just do, like, just do something. I remember when I was in an acting class in high school, and I remember I was like, maybe I could be an actor, and I really don't think I can be, but you never know. And one of the main tips our teacher told us was that if you're in a scene of some sort, just do something. And I think that's perfectly relevant for what you want in life. If you want something, just do something about it. And who knows, something great could happen.
Life is too short. Life is way too short to not have more cool stories by the time you die. I'm thinking about it now. We're 27 years old. My son is turning 1 on Wednesday. It's crazy. He's a year. Soon a year old.
Yeah, I remember, yeah, it was a year since I've held them pretty much.
That's crazy.
That's absolutely insane.
So it's been a year. I can keep going on this path, or I could choose to do something cool.
Yeah.
And I want to have cool stories for my kids, my grandkids. And with the opportunities right now, with technology in the connected world we live in, as cheesy as that saying is, there's so many opportunities. So just go and take action. If if you're listening, go and take action. And myself, I need to go and take action.
I will say at least we're doing this podcast. Like we've
Yes,
we've started this just to do something, and we're definitely doing something within this realm of film, which we'll see where it goes. But right now we're enjoying it. We're learning from it.
enjoying and learning. That's all we can really do.
Okay. That is the Stuckman story. With that lengthy topic down, we're on to our next one, which is biblical themes in film and TV. David, what you got for us?
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about this since we essentially started the podcast. I am a devout Christian, which essentially just means that I believe that Jesus Christ was a real person. He lived a perfect life. He died a sacrificial and substitutionary death for the sins of humanity. And by simply believing that he did that and then rose from the dead 3 days later, we can have eternal life. That's kind of the basis for the belief. And that is essentially the gospel story. The gospel story really revolves around God creating humanity and then humanity falling into sin and needing a savior, to needing sacrifice to be cleansed of wrongdoing and evil and sin. So, for example, that would be before Jesus, people would sacrifice lambs. That's in Scripture. Jesus is called the Lamb of God. John the Baptist in Scripture referred to Jesus as the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world, because before Jesus, the penalty, the sacrifice that needed to be made for the cleansing of sins was to sacrifice an animal. Typically, it was a lamb that was what was called spotless, perfect lamb, had no flaws. You sacrifice that to be cleansed. Blood had to be shed. And when Jesus came along, who claimed to be God in Scripture, he claimed to be God, and he said, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father and except through me. And so essentially what he was saying is I am God, and you must believe in what I am saying. He was the ultimate sacrifice. He saved humanity from eternal damnation because all have sinned and all are evil and wicked in the eyes of God. But Jesus, in his perfectness, because he was God slash also God's son, because he was that, he sacrificed himself for all of humanity in the future because he was perfect. So that's kind of the basis of the gospel story. And then he rose from the dead, defeating death and conquering sin. So that's the basis of the gospel story. So as a Christian, we have the understanding in our worldview that the gospel story, despite either people's intentions, is kind of ingrained because it is the epitome of true love. And the scripture talks about this, is laying down your life for your friends. That is the epitome of true love. And God represented that by laying down his only son's life. He laid that life down for all of humanity. And we kind of have that, from my Christian worldview and perspective, we have that ingrained in humans, despite the intention or ill intention. A perfect example of this is Avengers Infinity War / Avengers Endgame. The heroes, Doctor Strange says, we will not pay with human lives. And there is this constant theme of what will cost a human life? What will cost a life to save the world? In Infinity War, Loki has to make a decision. Does he sacrifice his brother to Thanos, or does he give up the stone? And he gives up the stone. Star-Lord and Gamora had the conversation. Gamora basically told Star-Lord, after they had already fallen in love, you have to let me die, essentially. In Infinity War, Iron Man and Doctor Strange, Iron Man had the stone. And Doctor Strange was like, yo, there's one way that this happens. And that was, okay, you have the stone. And again, Doctor Strange had said, we will not sacrifice human lives until, at the very end, Iron Man willingly lays down his life, sacrifices himself to save humanity. And this, I don't think this was the intention of necessarily the people making this film. I don't think that was necessarily like, this is a direct like Christian theme. Absolutely is. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why it was so popular, because from the Christian worldview perspective, it's kind of ingrained because of it is the ultimate sign of love, is laying down your life. Probably the most Christian film that definitely has direct calls to Christianity, but it's so subtle and it's done so subtly well. And the intention was to do it subtly, is Lord of the Rings. There are 3 Christ-like figures represented in Lord of the Rings. And it's an old way of talking about Christ to talk about Christ as a prophet, a priest, and a king. That's kind of like an older way to talk about how to explain Christ. It's a more Catholic version, not necessarily an incorrect version at all, but Lord of the Rings depicts it perfectly. Frodo is the priest. He is going to sacrifice himself, much like a priest does, in not pursuing worldly things. He's going to sacrifice himself to carry the ring to Mordor. Gandalf is the prophet. He's a teacher. He's the one that explains and is a wisdom giver. And he battles the demon, and he falls into the mines of Moria. And then he's reborn as Gandalf the wife. Not the wife.
Oh god.
Gandalf the wife. No. Gandalf the White. There's a death and a resurrection. Direct Christian symbolism. And then Aragorn. Aragorn's the king. He's the return of the king. He goes under the mountain. He goes into the realm of the dead, which the Bible specifically talks about Jesus doing, going literally to hell, going to the realm of the dead. He calls them back and he leads them in a charge, going down to the realm of the dead, rising again. perfect, Christian symbolism there. The ring represents like wickedness, essentially represents sin and the desire and the temptation. Gandalf says he doesn't want it, and Frodo's the only person. He's the priest. He's the only person that can do it, that can carry the ring, because he's not tempted by it.
Right.
Gandalf is. So it's kind of like the perfect example. J.R.R. Tolkien was a devout Christian, and obviously was very good friends with C.S. Lewis, who has multiple incredible books about Christianity. So that's kind of like the perfect representation, but it's done so subtly. That's like so subtle.
Yeah.
And like a normal person watching it who's not Christian doesn't even like know, but it's just
Me.
seeing something
Yeah.
epic on screen. Have you seen K-pop Demon Hunters?
No, not yet.
Okay, I won't talk about that one because I really need you to see that one.
Yeah, we'll talk. Yeah.
But what I will say is a very important songwriter on the staff of that movie. He said some of the songs were directly inspired by biblical values, and he himself grew up with Christian values. And then another one that I think is kind of, some people are going to really hate this. I'm watching Has Been Hotel right now, a completely and utterly degenerate show. Like, if you think about it in terms of a Christian theme, it's the opposite. Like, these people are literally like, it's about a show in hell with demons, and they're like the opposite of what you think a Christian show would be. But now we're getting into, there's a character in a fight sacrifices himself for his friends so his friends could live. And because of that, he ends up in heaven. He was in hell, now he's in heaven. Not biblically accurate or scripturally accurate at all. That's the greatest form of love based on scripture. Someone who lays down their life for their friends. I was super excited to talk about this because of my devout Christian faith. It's in a lot of things. You think about like Stranger Things, there are many sacrificial figures in.
Well, yeah, it's funny. When you're talking about it, once you talked about someone laying their life down for their friends, immediately I went to
Eddie,
think
right?
of Eddie. Was it Eddie? Eddie
Eddie
Munson.
Munson.
The Munster. Yeah, the Munster. Eddie's sacrifice was beautiful. And especially like the way that sacrifice like was earned, because like you felt his, I mean, like by that moment you knew, even before that moment, like he loved Dustin, he loved those kids. That moment felt so much more rich because of that sacrifice, because of all that love he had for them. So I mean, yeah, hearing you talk about the idea of the sacrifice, man, that's in so many films. I mean, now thanks to you, I will be definitely looking at films differently, because I'm not a Christian, but hearing that, knowing that this is tied to a lot of films that I've seen, that is really, really neat. I'm sure films that I will be seeing in the future will tie to them as well.
Christian themes are everywhere, and I think if you're watching this and you saw this segment and you're looking for them, you will see them everywhere.
All right. We are moving on to our final topic, which is the black phone. Now, I saw the black phone for the first time, I want to say probably like 2 or 3 months ago, maybe even earlier than that. But I remember hearing a lot of people talking about it. A lot of people had a lot of great things to say about it. It was, I want to say it came out a few years ago, and it was just received extremely well. Kept hearing people talk about it, and I was like, I should probably watch it at some point. I finally did, and I was so happy because it instantly became one of my favorite films, probably of the past decade. In terms of how it was made, it was so fascinating with the phone itself and what it did and what it showed. And seeing Ethan Hawke play such a refreshing, interesting character that he never really would play. Like he kind of, I wouldn't say he's like a typecast kind of guy, but seeing him in a villain role like this was shocking and refreshing and really fun. David, I wanted to jump to you quick on this because you recently just saw it. So let me know your thoughts. What'd you think of the Black Phone?
Yeah, the Black Phone was really kind of surprising to me. It has that same nostalgic kind of small town energy that Stranger Things really have. It kind of felt
Hmm.
Stranger Thingsy, if that's a theme, because it's set back in the late '70s, and Stranger Things is in the '80s. So I kind of felt like I was watching something like almost in the Stranger Things universe, but just in like Denver, which was really cool. I love Stranger Things. It was really cool. The relationship between the dynamic, the bond that he had with his sister was really cool.
Love that.
Yes, they had a good bond, and you definitely felt like, okay, it felt very, I don't want to say real, but that's the point of movies, is it for it to feel real? And it felt real in the sense how these characters, this is how they would act in this situation for this time. The kids are not holding back in terms of their cuss words, which is something that is always happening. So they respected it in that sense. They didn't shy away just because they were kids. The premise of having the phone. I love a horror movie without a billion jump scares because I don't do super well with jump scares.
Yeah, there were some specific moments where whenever he'd talk on the phone and the camera would pan, and then all of a sudden something would pop up, but it didn't make a noise. Like that's the thing. Like if you can do subtle jump scares like that, just great use of horror and knowing the audience and how they would react. Because I feel like the general audience, they kind of know when to expect jump scares. We've all been kind of trained in terms of how the shot is structured. If you're holding on something for a certain amount of time, if it feels uncomfortable, then the audience knows, oh, something's gonna jump. But the moment you kind of like, if you're in the editing bay and you're at that moment where you're like, oh, the audience will probably jump at this moment. Well, let's maybe move that scene a little longer and push it on and maybe make it feel more uncomfortable and then
Dude,
build it in a different way.
Weapons did that so well.
Oh my God.
Oh my
So well.
gosh.
We love
Yeah.
weapons here. The relationship between the brother and the sister for me was everything about this film because if you're going throughout it with, as they set up, the sister has some supernatural ability to see things in her dreams, and her dreams actually mean something, and something is going on in the real world within those dreams, or at least somewhat real, as she's able to jump back in time, as she's able to transport herself to a different part of town while she's sleeping. And it's really neat. One of the opening scenes when, and it's rough to watch the dad scenes, especially that one scene where he's beating her in the kitchen. That little girl, I want to say the actress name is Madeline McGraw, but she is the absolute standout of this film. Her performance in that horrific scene with her father just beating her with a belt, as her father's just like, your dreams are not real. He's just rejecting every bit of this being real with her dreams, and she's just delivering just as he's like, tell me they're not real, tell me your dreams are dreams, and she's like, my dreams are just dreams, and she just, her face emotes so well. Like this little girl is acting her butt off and she's crushing it. And it's like you could also tell in that moment, like, yeah, she's petrified, but she's like angry. Like she has just a grit behind her that propels her throughout the film. Like that is a great tee up to her as a character because yeah, she's a kid, she's petrified, she's crying, this is her father beating her, it's terrible, but she's so mad. And you see, well, like even, oh my God, one of the funniest the funniest scene is like whenever she pretends that she's not dreaming, like she'll kind of be with her dollhouse as it's opened, and she's like playing in the dollhouse, but she's still secretly doing the dream stuff. I remember one time, like she's really trying to dream as her brother is lost, and she gets up out of her bed, she goes to the dollhouse, and what does she say? She's like, Jesus, what the hell? Or she's like, she straight up cusses just out of nowhere, and it was so funny because it's so realistic. I feel like for a kid to do that, it was just so funny. Again, just she was the standout for me. I think the kid Mason Thames, who plays our lead protagonist, he does such an excellent job. He's definitely on the rise right now. He just had two films this year so far with the, if we're speaking about adaptations earlier with anime, he was in the live action reimagining of How to Train Your Dragon, and he was fantastic. That was my first viewing of How to Train Your Dragon, and I
Oh,
loved it.
was he Hiccup?
He was Hiccup, yeah. Right? And he was fantastic. He totally brought that awkward, scrawny energy to it, and he delivered he delivered a great performance. He was also in a film that came out, I think it was a few weeks ago, Regretting You, and I think it was reviewed more so like kind of like 50-50. It was kind of polarizing. Like you either liked it or you didn't. It almost seemed kind of like a soap opera-y type of film. But he's doing work, and of course he was in the Black Phone too, which so he's in 3 films this year. Which we have not seen Black Phone 2 yet. Once it comes to VOD, I will definitely see it because I'm very excited to see, especially his sister, seeing how, because I think she plays more of a protagonist role in this, because they definitely go more into the supernatural with this second film. In terms of the first Black Phone, the way they use the supernatural within the phone and how they introduce that, like you're like, whoa, he's really talking to these dead kids, and how they show that as well. Like they don't just show them, they just, the way they introduced each kid was just really neat. The atmosphere of this film felt really realistic in a sense, even though it's within the supernatural. Overall, just a fantastic film. David, you got any final thoughts?
I'm excited for Black Phone too. I wonder
Yeah.
what that's going to be about because it really feels like a closed loop after the first one.
Right.
So I'm excited for it.
Absolutely. With that down, we have finished our third show, the Rich Salad Show. Uh yeah, we're still seeing how this goes. We're having a good time. David's boxing it out. Yeah, we're boxing. We're trying to get up there in some notoriety, but yeah, we'll see where this goes. David, how do you think today's episode went?
A lot of fun. Love hanging out with your brother.
Yes,
Thank you so much. Looking forward to next week.
absolutely. All right, guys. Let us know what you thought of this show. Any feedback is welcome. We will see you next week. We out.